Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Assistive Technology webinar with Susan Foster. She is going to introduce our speaker today, but I just wanted to go over some housekeeping issues before we started. Anyone that has questions can go ahead and type them into the Q&A box. The chat box is for you to chat amongst yourselves. You can put in your contact information, or you can, put anything else that you want in the chat area. But questions for our speakers today need to go in our Q&A box so that we can receive those and field those questions. I'm going to turn this over to Susan, and we're going to begin our webinar.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I want to introduce Eric Reed. He's the New Horizon Loan Program Director at FAAST in Tallahassee. I almost said Pensacola. I'm not quite sure, Eric, how long you've been with FAAST, but thank you for being here today and doing this presentation for us.
Thanks, Susan, and it's a great day to join you guys in Pensacola and be a part of this. I've been with FAAST for almost 6 years now, I think it is. So it's been a great time. I do run our financial loan program, so I came over to FAAST from a banking career of close to 14 years. So it was not a lateral move, but certainly some similarities in running the financial loan program, but a complete change of vision and attitude and everything that we do to try to help the disability community in Florida versus what traditional banking does. So it's been a great 6 years, and been great working with all of our programs. Some quick background that is not in the slides of FAAST. FAAST is the Florida Alliance for Assistive Services and Technology. So we are the state's assistive technology program. Every state in the United States, plus every territory, does have an AT program similar to FAAST. What I run, our financial loan program, there's about 38, maybe 40 now states and territories that operate a financial loan program similar to what FAAST does. So that is kind of who we are. We are housed in Tallahassee as our state headquarters, but we do have 10 different centers across the state. If you're watching this because you're familiar with the Pensacola Center for Independent Living, that is where one of our regional demonstration centers is housed, and that is also where our regional reuse center is housed for the east side, for the west side of the state and the Gulf counties. So we're going to cover today just the basics of our New Horizon loan program. That is the name of our financial loan program. And I look forward to, after briefly going over everything on these slides, that we have a chance for some good questions and discussion. I will try to describe slides the best I can for anybody who is listening. And on the first slide is a logo, which is our FAAST logo, which is just the letters FAAST in a blue oval with an arrow that is directed towards an active wheelchair user. And the whole logo is in blue, except for the active wheelchair user is in gray, and he is kind of emblazoned over a state of Florida icon as well. Next slide, please. So a little bit of who we are, I've just kind of explained some of it. What we technically are is called a preferred interest loan program. So we do offer what we think and what we try to gear are lower rates than what you would find at traditional lenders. Certainly at secondary lenders, our rates will be preferred compared to those. We were a part of the Assistive Technology Act of 2004. Originally, we were funded through Rehabilitation Services Administration. Now we are kind of housed under ACL with the federal government. And we offer Floridians with disabilities credit opportunities to purchase assistive technology. And assistive technology is simply any equipment and associated services that will improve somebody with a disability's overall quality of life. We have no limits as to what we can or can't fund as far as AT goes, other than cost and dollar amounts, which we'll get into later in the presentation. And so we offer really two types of programs that we'll talk about. One is the Assistive Technology Loan Program, and another one is our Small Business or Telework Loan Program. And we'll get into a little bit of the differences there and how you can borrow from one program or the other and get some different options for you. And we also offer funding assistance through a direct loan program, which is our own internal funding. We have a bank guarantee loan program that we typically use for just our vehicle purchases. And then we also have what is called an interest rate buy down program, which we use for our home modifications. Next slide. So a lot of people ask, why would I want to borrow money for assistive technology? Isn't there money out there? Isn't there funding other places? Aren't there grants? Doesn't the government pay for all of this? And unfortunately, the simple answer to all of that is no. There are resources, and we try to do the best that we can in helping folks navigate through some of those different resources. There are some grant programs, either private or public programs, that specifically are targeted towards assistive technology at times. There are funding options through VOC Rehab, through the VA. Those are probably the two most common places where assistive technology funding takes place. But it's not available to everybody. It's not available all of the time. There are home modification programs that come into play through county funding, and that money comes and goes very quickly. So you may know that your neighbor was able to use funding to get a new ramp built, but that funding's gone and won't be seen for another year or two whenever they get reimbursed for some new funding through the county. So there's certainly different situations that cause at least the idea to explore a financial loan. Some bullet points here under when a loan, no other funding is available. AT is not covered by insurance or benefits. Time is of the essence. We do know that some of the programs take a very long time to get approved for and to obtain your funding. So there could be a situation where you need what you need now in order for your independence to be improved. Financial savings, you may not have enough savings to purchase what you want, and no other funding is available for you. And then there's times where it's just easier to be able to call FAAST and to get the funding and not have to navigate through some of the other programs that are out there. We are a complete customer choice program, so we do not require you to go through any other program before you come to us. We do not require a decline from your insurance or VR or the VA or anybody else. There are no stipulations where we are going to say, no, you need to go explore this before you come to us. We'll encourage it, and we'll hopefully provide you some of the resources where you may be able to find funding, but it is a consumer choice program that was written into the statute, and that is what we follow and believe in. So why a loan? Some of these are kind of similar to when, but a little different, less expensive than other alternatives. If you do need to seek out a loan, our loan program is often even a traditional bank. We're cheaper financing wise than a traditional bank would be. We're easier, less cumbersome than other services. There is no other funding alternative. You have limited cash resources, so you may need a down payment for something, or insurance may cover the majority of it and you need just a small portion of it, but you don't have that cash on hand. And again, customer prefers to use the program. Next slide, please. So what can you borrow? Really any type of assistive technology is eligible for the program, and assistive technology services as well. So if it brings you independence, it is probably assistive technology. It is probably something that we consider to be assistive technology. Home modifications, that includes smart home technology. That is certainly such a growing industry right now. And if there is a piece of smart home technology that will help you do something that you've not been able to do, or do something to keep you from having to call a family member to help you do it, that is assistive technology. Another big one that we see a lot of is outdoor recreation. It doesn't have to be something that you need for just a daily living need. It can be something that brings enjoyment to you and fun to you. So if getting to the beach is something that you want and you need a beach accessible chair, that is assistive technology. If you need any type of outdoor rec, I'm trying to think some of the other loans that we've done. We do track chairs. We have done a trailer for a gentleman that coaches his daughter's softball team, but needed a place for respite during the day while they're out on tournaments, and the bathrooms at the softball complexes don't offer everything that he needs. So a trailer, although it's the same trailer that you could go to any trailer place and buy to haul your lawnmowers around, he uses that as assistive technology. That brings him independence, and that is something that we were very easily able to consider assistive technology. Partner with other organizations or programs to complete purchase. So if you need to borrow, like I mentioned, a down payment, a deductible for insurance is certainly something that is valid through our loan. A very, very common one is through vocational rehab. You are getting a modifications paid for a vehicle, but Voc Rehab does not pay for the chassis of the van. We come in and we pay for the chassis. Voc Rehab pays for the modifications, and you're able to walk away with a brand new van through financing with us. Equipment needed to work at home. So this is kind of where the telework program comes into play. If you need to work from home because of a disability, in order to have that independence, and you're not able to get to a job site, and you need a computer, you need a phone system, you need a new desk and chair, even if it's not something that is modified, even if it is something that you could just go to the store and buy off the shelf at Best Buy, if it's giving you independence to work at home, then that would be considered assistive technology. And then the other real neat thing with the telework program is you can actually borrow money to start up a self-employment business. You can become that entrepreneur that you've wanted to be using funds through FAAST. We have done a couple loans for folks to open up a business, to buy the equipment that they need to get started. We can't just do seed capital or just money that you want to hold in the bank to provide living expenses while you get started. But if there are actual equipment things that you need, legal fees, anything like that to get started in a business, we can help you with that as well. Next slide, please. So on this slide gives you some images of examples of FAAST funding, things that we have funded in the past. Just starting up from my top left is a picture of a valet seat coming out of a modified van that allows somebody to transfer from a chair into the seat, and then the seat swivels back into the van. The next photo next to that is a modified bathroom with flat floors, no thresholds, no doors to the roll-in shower. So a common home modification that we are able to do. Next to that is a magnifier and a CCTV for folks. Next to that is actually the gentleman that I spoke about earlier with the trailer that he purchased as assistive technology. Down on the bottom left is a picture of a borrower and her track chair that she uses to get around her property. After a stroke, she was unable to get out on her property for about 4 years until she learned about the track chair and was able to purchase one, and is now able to get out and do the things that she used to love. Hearing aids are, at this point, our most common loan that we do through a great partnership here in Tallahassee with an audiologist and a few others across the state. We do hearing aids very often and are looking for ways to change that program a little bit to make it even easier for people to navigate for hearing aid assistance. ramp outside, again, a very common home modification and something that we do often. And then a stair lift to get people from the first to the second floor. So those are just examples, obviously anything as we've mentioned, but those are just some good broad options of what we do. So this slide, this explains which loan type is for you. This doesn't really come into play too much for you as a potential borrower or even a vendor for that matter. If you're on here just learning about our program, we would do most of this internally on the back end with a couple caveats to that. But as I said, we have 3 types of loans. We have our direct loan program, and we use our own funds for that. And that's primarily the types of loans that we issue. We receive funding through the federal government. Every few years, they issue grant opportunities. We were lucky enough to receive one back in 2019, awarded in 2020 to help the program continue. But that is where we have our investment funds ready to work for us and to work for you guys. And so most of the loans we do will come out of that. And we work just like a bank where we bill you, you pay us directly. We have loan software and closing documents, and we do everything we would just as though you were going to a bank. So do everything through the mail right now if you don't live in Tallahassee, and try to make it as easy as we can to cover the whole entire state with that. When it does come to funding, we will pay the vendor directly. We do not use two-party checks. We don't require you to take it to the vendor. We just pay the vendor directly from our funds, and your loan starts from that point. The bank guarantee loan program is, again, primarily for vehicle purchases. Again, you come and you apply through FAAST just like you would through our direct loan program, and we process everything in the same way. We go through our same approval process. If it is approved, additional steps then take place where you become a customer of our bank, which is First Federal Bank of Florida. And so you would complete their application at that point, and they give the final stamp of approval. And at that point, you repay the bank, not FAAST, and you're actually a borrower of the bank. We guarantee the loan with the bank, so we're kind of on the loan together with you as the borrower, as a guarantor, and everything happens that way. But once we approve it and send it to the bank, your communication primarily takes place with our bank partner, and all payments and servicing of the loan takes place through them. Our self home modification loan we use for the majority of our home modifications. And this actually starts through an application process on our website, but with a self application. So you actually would apply directly to self through our website, and everything would be handled by self at that point. You are self's customer, they service the loan. We just get a report as to what types of loans they were doing for FAAST customers. But our partnership is there to help you receive a lower interest rate than you would if you went directly to self. So we're still in partnership with you to get a loan rate that is similar to what you would get through FAAST. And it's a great way for self, who is a home modification nonprofit, to do the work that they know how to do, and work with your contractor and work with the construction process and be able to manage that much better than we can through our end of things, where we don't have that expertise and the manpower to manage a construction project. Next slide. So this is just a screenshot of what you would see if you went to our website. And this is probably 3 pages in on our website. The Assistive Technology loan page is underneath the What We Do section along the top line of the FAAST website. There's an underlined section called What We Do, and that drops down to all of our various programs. And one of the choices is financial loans. So if you were to click on the financial loans button, it would take you to the page that describes what the loan program is. And as you scroll down that page, you would find what we're looking at right here, which is 3 images, one of a recumbent electric assist pedal bike, a woman working, sitting in a wheelchair and working at her desk, and then somebody in a modified shower. And so there's 3 boxes are labeled assistive technology, telework business loans, and home modifications. The telework business loans and the assistive technology loans all go to the same arrow that says apply here, and that would take you straight to the FAAST application. The 3rd image where the home modifications is, that is where you would apply if you wanted a home modification loan, and that would take you directly to the SELF website application. Both are online, and when you apply through the FAAST website for the assistive technology or the telework loan, that comes straight to my inbox when you're done, and we pull your credit and then contact you within 24 to 48 hours after that. Next slide, please. And then, of course, that's the online version. Not everybody prefers to fill out an application online. Not everybody has the resources to fill out an application online. Whatever the case may be, we will get you an application however we need to. We can email a PDF to you. We can mail one to you, a hard copy to you. We can do phone applications as needed. There are some vendors that might have the application already for you, some of our hearing aid vendors especially, and some of our vehicle modification vendors have those applications available to you. And then sometimes the vendors themselves are able to help you with the application if you're there with them in their office and you have some assistance needs to get the application filled out. However you need to get it, we will make sure we get it to you in whatever format is the best for you. Next slide, please. So these are just some tips on completing the application and just the process to make it a little bit easier. The first one, complete as much information as possible. The more information that I initially receive, the quicker the underwriting process will be. If I have a full story on an application to at least get the numbers down, then that makes our first conversation more about the assistive technology need and the vendor you're working with and making sure that all that is correct and not having to go through all of the numbers with you. If it is possible when you're submitting the application, which you cannot do directly through the online application link, but if you can email a copy of your ID, a copy of income verification with the application or right after the application submission, again, that's more numbers for me. Those are the things that I need in order for us to really verify an approval. Copies of IDs and copies of income verification are really the two main things that I would need. So the earlier I get them in the process, the easier it is for us to get through the process as quickly as we can. And then also, if you think you might need a co-borrower, go ahead and include them from the beginning. If you know that your credit has had some challenges lately, and you know that you probably rely on somebody else's income for some of your household expenses, we will need somebody else added as a co-borrower to add either a credit boost or to add a financial boost. So if you know that you're in that situation, then go ahead and add them. Of course, it's not a big deal to add them after the fact. A lot of people don't know the situation or how the underwriting works. So that's not a big deal at all. But if it is something that you know you will need, just go ahead and include them from the beginning so we have, again, the whole picture right up front. And then another thing that often gets not included, but in conversations comes up and we get to it, that if you have debt on your credit report that might be paid by someone else, it is still your responsibility and we still have to include it in the underwriting. So if an example could be an auto loan that you helped out a family member get a vehicle and it's on your credit report, but they pay that every month, it is still your debt and the banks would look at it that way. So we look at it that way, that you are still responsible, because we would anticipate that you would take over that payment if things went bad for the person that you took the loan out for. So little things like that. There's not really a place on the credit report to add explanations like that, but I guess more importantly, just be ready to talk through everything and to discuss and to be open about what is on your credit report. Next slide. So we'll get into a little bit about how the process works and what we do and what I do as the underwriter for your loan. So as I mentioned, we pull your credit. So we do pull Equifax. That's the first step that we would do when I get a completed application. And then, like I said, be open to talk about everything on your credit report. There's a story behind it all. Any bumps in the road of your credit journey, helping me understand them helps in the approval decisions. We are here to help as many people as we can. And we're also in a position to know some of the struggles that come with, whether it's an onset of a new disability or just continued medical expenses, whatever the case may be, for many folks that we will end up serving, there's a story there, and it's a story that we want to hear and that we want to know, and so we can understand what's happened in the past and why that won't be an impact in the future. And as long as we can get our hands around that, then even if there are some hurdles that had to be overcome and maybe even still are being overcome, it doesn't mean that we can't get our hands around the overall story and still approve you for a loan. Let me know the best way to communicate with you. If it's email, if it's a phone call, if it's text, whatever the case may be, I will contact with you the best way that it will be. So that's important for me to know. I'll usually send an intro email to you, and then you can just respond through that email to me. If I don't hear back from the email, then I'll follow that up with a phone call. And then also let your vendor know that you're working with us. So if we don't know who your vendor is, if we can get comfortable with them is not the right word. If we can just introduce ourselves and get them comfortable with us is probably more like it, so they can understand who we are and what we're trying to do. That often helps a lot as well in the funding process. Next slide, please. So will you be approved? That's a good question that I get quite often via a phone call or an email. I've got some credit issues, but will you be able to approve me? And until it goes through the application process, I can't tell you that. I can tell you what some of our criteria is, and again, kind of make that decision whether or not you need a co-borrower or not, those types of things. But I encourage anybody to apply. Another part of what I try to do is financial education. So if it's a situation where somebody can't be approved, we'll still look at your credit report and we'll kind of talk through some things as to how you might be able to fix that, increase your credit score, and be a more viable candidate for us and other traditional lending. So the bullet points: we work hard to approve as many loans as possible. Underwriting criteria is much more lenient than traditional bank loans. So even if you've applied at a bank and they did not approve you, that does not mean that we will not. There's a very big gap in between what they will approve and what we will approve. Even bank partnership loans are more lenient than the bank's traditional underwriting. Through our guarantee with them and just through our partnership and letting them kind of see what opportunities are there with more lenient credit underwriting, many of our clients would not be approved by them if it was not through our loan program. So even if you know it's a vehicle loan and it's going to be a partnership loan, there's still opportunity there if your own bank has not approved you in the past. How you handle your debts currently can outweigh past issues and struggles. This is probably the biggest thing that I look at, is not so much what's happened in the past, but what's happening now. And if you have had loans that have charged off that have been collection accounts, but everything you have now is currently being paid, and it's a good history of paying things currently. That can certainly outweigh those past issues, and really shows what your current situation is. So we look at that, and that story of the past issues is important to explain why it doesn't have anything to do with today's success. You don't have a credit score, that is completely okay. We approve people all the time that do not have credit scores. So we do report to the credit bureaus. So this is a great way to build credit and to help start that credit history through a loan with FAAST. And fixed income is not an issue either, to the point where we don't have income requirements. What we do look at is your ability to repay. So we look at what is called a debt to income ratio. So we're going to look at the money that you bring in versus the money that goes out to debt. We don't look at your monthly expenses, a cell phone bill, your utilities, your food. We don't bring those into consideration when it comes to our debt to income. We look at your housing cost, and we look at your actual debt that is on your credit report or that you report on the application. Next slide, please. So before I get into this slide, I don't think it's on a slide coming up. So you do know our current interest rate's 5.5%, and for our vehicle loans, our interest rate is 5%. So that's where we are as far as interest rates. Our target credit score is about a 580 to 590 on the low end. And if you looked at a chart, you would see plenty of people that were approved below that, and plenty of people that were approved without a score at all. So again, don't let any of that discourage you. Those are just targets that we look for. For vehicle modifications, it is a little more strict at 600 that the bank is going to look for. But again, if it's close, we fight for whatever we can to make happen. So this slide, I'm approved. So now what happens? So we do a final verification. If income verification has not been received, then the approval is contingent upon that. So if you haven't sent it to me and I've used the stated income on your application, and then you send me your income information and it's $400 less a month, and that $400 less a month means your debt to income ratio is too high now, the approval may not be valid. So a great reason to get that to me as quick as you can. So we have everything wrapped up on our end. A final vendor invoice. So I do need the exact amount of the purchase, must be known at this time. I put that in at this point. While I would love to have a vendor invoice from everybody early in the process, there's certainly plenty of times that shopping is still taking place, that there's still maybe negotiations. There's reasons why you think something might cost $4,500, but you're not exactly sure. So typically in those situations, I would go to our loan committee for maybe $5,000 instead of $4,500. So we have an approval that covers what you think it's going to be. So we don't need the exact amount while we're going through the application process, but we need a very good ballpark figure. And the more times than not, if it's the exact amount, that does help. Loan documents are prepared. I prepare the loan documents at the office, and they're sent out to you guys through regular postal service. And typically there'll be two documents that you will sign, a promissory note and a security agreement. Most loans are secured by the assistive technology, so it is a collateral form of loan. Just means that whatever it is you're buying secures the loan in the event that you can't if you can't continue paying, then that would become our property. Something that we've never had to deal with and something we never want to deal with, of course. But there is the legal agreement there. And then you will sign those, you'll have them notarized, and you'll return them to FAAST. Or if you're local in Tallahassee, you certainly are able to come by the office And with safe social distancing, we will sign and get all that notarized in the office for you. And then once I have all of that back to me, I get a check cut from our bookkeeper's office and send that directly to the vendor. And then they do their part and get you the assistive technology. Couple different changes with the bank guarantee approvals and the home modification. So again, bank staff will handle all closing procedures for the bank guarantee approved loans. The bank will pay the vendor directly, so they will fund directly to the modification dealer, and then all payments go directly to the bank on your end. The home modification and the self loan approvals, all closings, all funding, all payments, all loan decisions are handled by self, and self fully services the loan in all aspects. And I realized that earlier when I first talked about self and home modifications, self stands for the Solar Energy Loan Fund, is the name of the nonprofit. They've consolidated that to just self is what they really go by now, because they do so much more than solar and energy. They started off as a working towards the solar side of things, and then energy audits and energy rehabilitation to homes is what really started that as a nonprofit. But they have since expanded into all types of home modifications, from roofing to AC units, all of that. And now they do a lot of work in the disability community. So they're able to do a lot of home modification work for individuals with disabilities. And then a last type of loan that we offer and is called our credit builder option. And this would be for people who do not get approved for a loan through us originally, but there is what I guess the committee would say is a lot of potential to make some changes over a 6-month to 12-month period and make them fall more into the realm of what we're looking for credit-wise. So again, it's called a credit builder loan option. It's for borrowers who do not meet normal underwriting qualifications, but have shown ability and desire to improve and repair credit. Credit builder loan is issued, creating a payment history with FAAST, securing a down payment for the AT needed, and potentially improving your credit score. And then upon maturity of the credit builder loan and successful completion of the credit builder program, the loan for the initially requested AT is approved and closed. So to sum that up quickly for you, if somebody is really close, but the committee just doesn't quite feel comfortable approving a loan, the most recent one we did was for hearing aids, so I'll talk through that. So we didn't approve the hearing aid loan, but we approved the credit builder loan. So what that did was create a 6-month loan for this borrower, and they borrowed, it was, I think, $1,000 for that 6 months. And each month they would make a payment that would go into a reserve account that was their account, their money. And at the end of that 6 months, we review credit again. We make sure that there aren't any new loans that have gone into default. We make sure that everything else that they are obligated to has been paid as agreed. We go through a credit education course for 30 minutes to an hour. And then as long as all those things have been met, then the hearing aid loan is automatically approved. We don't go back through a committee approval or anything like that. And all of the money paid into that loan over the 6 months reduces the cost of the hearing aids. So it creates a lower loan amount for you. So it creates a lower payment. You have 6 months of credit history on your credit report that now is positive because you met your obligations to us over that 6-month period. And it's a great program to help that. If anything happens in the meantime and you're not able to fulfill the obligations of the credit builder loan, then everything you have paid into that loan goes straight back to you. So there's no risk to the borrower. It's strictly what it says. It's a credit builder loan. So it is a way for us to build a 6-month payment history. And if, again, anything happens during that time, everything that you've paid into that loan does go back to you. So That's just a very quick explanation of what seems like a very complicated program. So I'll be more than happy to explain anything else to anybody about that one. And so this is just a quick slide that has loan program resources. Of course, our website, www.faast.org, FAAST. There's a direct link to the application, which is at our website, and then NHLP-application. There is the SELF website, which you see there, their full name spelled out, solarenergyloanfund.org, and then a link to their application as well, which is available through our website. And then a couple financial education tools that are good to use is mymoney.gov, and then creditkarma.com is a great way to monitor your credit reports, a great way to monitor your credit. A lot of credit building tools are also on creditkarma.com. And then an easy way to get a copy of your annual credit report from all three of the credit reporting services is at www.annualcreditreport.com. Very important website because it is completely free, and you can pull each credit report. I believe it's every year, and then they've changed it now during COVID. It's a little more often, or it might even be every month, I think, that you're able to pull your credit report. But a lot of people use that where they pull one different credit report every 4 months. So Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. And so you can kind of keep up to that on a 4-month rolling cycle. Next slide. And there is our contact information. My direct email is ereed, that is EREED, at faastinc.org, FAASTINC.org. Our state headquarters address is 820 East Park Avenue, Suite D200 in Tallahassee, Florida. I am working from home primarily, so the best way to reach me is at 850-508-6013. And I have certainly appreciated this opportunity. Thank you guys over there in Pensacola. I think you're on mute, Susan.
We have one question.
Okay.
Okay. How does your program help consumers that are disabled and only source of income is Social Security income, which is not much, is there? Are they still eligible, or does it base on income and credit score?
So it does not base on income. That's where we would go to the debt to income ratio. And we have done multiple loans for folks that are on SSI and the 781 a month or 784 a month. So no, you are not excluded from the program. What it does is it's going to limit the amount that can be borrowed, because we're going to use that 784 in the case of SSI, and we're going to look to not go over 50% of that amount with your debt and housing payments. So it can limit that, but it's possible depending on what you need. And then yes, credit score does come into play. We are going to look at a credit score. More importantly, we're going to look at a credit history. So if there is no credit score, then that is fine. We're going to look at the credit history more importantly.
Okay, and so the next question would be, if they use the SELF and try to build up that loan to get to where they need to be, can they do that?
Can they use the credit builder loan?
The credit builder loan, sorry, not SELF.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we could, and again, the credit builder loan, we would, our goal with the credit builder loan is to make that payment as close to what the actual assistive technology loan payment would be. So if you qualify for the credit builder loan payment, then you meet the debt to income requirements. So yes, I mean, the answer would be you could just come in and say, I want to do a credit builder loan to help build my credit because I want to purchase this assistive technology. There does have to be an end use of assistive technology because the only thing we can do loans for is the purchase of assistive technology. So our credit builder loan can't be used as a standalone credit building tool, if that makes sense.
Got it. Well, if we have any other questions, put them in the Q&A and I'll be ready to ask Eric whatever it is we need to ask.
I have a question for you, Eric. Is there a
Yes.
limit to someone that has maybe taken out a vehicle loan, but then they might need something else, like maybe an iPad or a computer that to help them communicate or, whatever the case may be. Are they still eligible to, purchase other equipment, or are they limited until one is paid off? How does that work?
So the answer to that is our agreement with the state of Florida when they allowed us to become a direct lender was that we will not do loans over $25,000. So our aggregate loan amount for somebody in our direct loan program can't exceed $25,000. So if you have a bank guarantee loan that sometimes do go over 25,000 because the bank is doing that, we still look at that as our direct loan aggregate amount. So as long as the combined loan amounts of all the programs doesn't exceed $25,000, and somebody can have multiple loans out at the same time. If they have one loan and that loan gets paid down, and once it gets down to $23,000 and whatever they need is $2,000, then we can look at doing that loan.
Makes sense. Thank you. Any other questions, Susan?
I don't see any other. I am so appreciative to Eric for coming on and talking to us about New Horizon Loan Program. It's been a wonderful, wonderful presentation. I appreciate you so much for doing this for us.
You got it. We appreciate you guys, and thank you for the invitation.
Yes, sir.
Everybody have a great day.
You too. Thanks so much, Eric. A pleasure to meet you.
All right. Yes, pleasure meeting you.